And I welcome you all to today's class by Advanced English Language Academy. This is Yasin, your English language instructor. So we're uploading a video after a very long time. Unfortunately, our cameraman was very busy. He was traveling. Actually, he went to northern areas. He went to mountains. He was traveling. Just today, he returned and we called him 3-4 times and requested him to come to the academy. So he's here today and we're recording a video. But the good news is that we are uploading another video for our viewers. So today's video is going to be very helpful for those who are teaching English as a second language and for those who are learning English as a second language. Today I'm going to give you some pronunciation tips and I want to talk about a common mistake that non-native speakers make. So first of all, I'll talk about the mistake that we Pakistanis and Indians make. I don't know about other countries because I listen to Pakistani speakers, I listen to Indian speakers, I watch their videos, I have been interacting with these English speakers. So therefore, I'm just trying to talk about a problem that is very common in both India and Pakistan. So let me tell you, now it doesn't mean that this video is only for the non-native speakers of India and Pakistan. This video is for all of the non-native speakers. It's going to be a very useful video. Please keep watching. So we're talking about pronunciation. So the problem is that I want to talk about that most of the non-native speakers now try to sound like native speakers. So they just copy native speakers. For example, the way English people speak. So they speak because they follow a process. Okay, they don't know, but actually their language has been taught, their language has evolved, so therefore they speak from a process. So what we do, normally I listen to English language instructors, so they just try to copy. I mean, they just guess that this is how English people pronounce words. Now, it is not so. For example, if you listen to English speakers and they speak, how are you? And you also say, how are you? And English speakers say, I'm fine. And you also say, I'm fine. These sorts of things if you do. So it's not going to help you learn English. Now, if you want to improve your accent, so you can't sound like native speakers, but you can sound more like a native speaker. There is a difference between sounding like a native speaker and sounding more like a native speaker. Sound more means that you are not speaking completely not like native speaker, but your accent is very close to their accent. Okay, that's what sound more like a native speaker. Now it's impossible for a person who is not a native speaker and he can speak native English. It's impossible. Still, I'm not talking about myself, but those people who haven't been to England, those people who haven't been to America and they can speak English, it's a great thing. Now, it's impossible for a person to speak English like American and British people because we haven't been to any of these countries. So therefore, this is going to be a very important tip for those who are struggling with your accent. Don't copy native English speakers. Don't copy. Why? Because when they speak English, so they practice so many techniques. They are unaware of it because that's their own language. So these techniques automatically take place in their speech. But when we do it, so you can only act for 1 or 2 minutes. And after 1 or 2 minutes, you'll be back to your local tone. It's not going to help. You will not be natural. So your accent will be artificial and you'll be acting. As I told you, you'll be acting and you can act for only a few minutes, then you'll be back to your local tone. Don't do that, okay? I go to academies, so I listen to English teachers, I talk to them. So I'm not talking about all of them, but a few of them, they just try to impress their audience, their students. They just try to impress even those who have visited, the visitors, that they can speak like native speakers. They can't. Actually, they act. So when you talk to them for 1 or 2 minutes, or you try it, you listen to a non-native speaker, you will automatically understand who is acting and who is speaking from a proper technique, okay? You listen to a non-native speaker. So if the non-native speaker is acting, so he will be back to his local tone after 2 or 3 minutes. But if he has studied the whole system, the sound system, so he will be speaking in a natural tone as long as he can, I mean, he will never switch to his local tone. So remember one thing, never copy. Never copy means that you shouldn't just guess the pronunciation of words. For example, you listen to native speakers and you want to speak like them. It's impossible to speak like them. So if you are learning English and you go through the whole process, and the whole process is to improve, to learn phonetics and phonology. Now, phonetics is the study of sounds, and phonology is logic. Actually, it's science. It's the arrangement of sounds. So that means that you want to maintain flow in your speech. So you want to maintain flow in your speech. So there are some techniques: assimilation, elision, and intrusion. So you need to practice them. First of all, you need to learn them, and then you need to practice them in order to make your accent natural. But if you directly start speaking like native speakers, so then, as I said, that you'll be acting, and acting can never go longer. You will be caught after a little while. The person will realize that you are actually acting. But if you have studied phonology, if you have studied phonetics, now phonetics has become a story, a tale. There is no more hurt. How? Because actually phonetics were used to guess the pronunciation of a word. 10 years ago, 20 years ago, there were some symbols in the Oxford dictionaries. So if you wanted to know about the pronunciation of a word, so you would open the dictionary and you would know the symbols. You would identify the symbol, and then you would pronounce the word. But nowadays, ever since the spoken dictionaries have been introduced, so now phonetics are of no use, because, for example, you want to know about the pronunciation of a word, you just type it and Google will tell you its pronunciation at that time. So you don't need to look for the symbols, these sorts of things. Yes, learn phonetics. Phonetics will tell you the sounds, the variety of sounds in English language. So it will help you about the wrong sounds that you make those sounds. For example, D or D, and they are soft. So it will tell you which sounds you pronounce wrong. But phonology is the main thing that will improve your fluency, because phonology is practiced to maintain the flow in your speech. So if you want to improve your accent, I mean, you want to sound more like native speakers, so you have to improve phonology. Now learn phonology, practice phonology, and install phonology into your language system, so then you will be able to speak with natural tone and you won't switch back to your local tone. So as I said earlier, that your accent will not be native, but it will be close to native English. So don't copy, okay? Don't copy. That's my message. If you're learning English as a second language, don't copy. Come through a process.